right, good morning, everybody, and happy Saturday. I think it's a foggy Saturday. It's a little early, but it's a little foggy. It's supposed to be really pretty this morning, and well, I'm coming to you a little bit early today because it's family Christmas. All right, we're all probably doing that, family parties, gatherings, Christmas things, kind of pulling us in all kinds of directions, and it kind of brings me to the point that we're going to pivot just a little bit today. It's still kind of in the vein of what we've been doing. We've been talking about listening. How can we become better listeners, not only in our human relationships, but how can we hear the Father better? How can we hear what he has for my life a little bit better? And today we want to get started, as we always do, down in the comments. How you doing? How you feeling this morning? Or whenever you're watching tonight, tomorrow, next week, whenever you're watching this, how are you feeling right in this moment? I want you to give me an emoji. Just find your emoji that kind of best represents who you are. Come talk to me in the comments right now. Just go down there and type a little message right there for me. I want to hear how you're doing so that we can support you. We've been on this journey for quite some time, and I don't know about you, but there's something that like pulls in a bunch of different directions whenever you start to think about family and Christmas. And for me personally, this is always a time in my life that I like to just kind of pause and reflect. One of my favorite things, I don't do it as much anymore, something I'm going to get back to, but one of my favorite things that I used to do a lot was I would sit down at this time of the year and I would handwrite notes. When I was a youth pastor, I literally would handwrite 100 notes to every student in our group. I'd handwrite notes to our staff. I'd handwrite notes to close friends, and I would seal those up. And one of my favorite things that I kind of learned from a good friend of mine is we would do these wax seals on the back of every one of them. And there was just something like, maybe it's part of my OCD. I don't think I'm OCD, but maybe that's part of it is like all of us have a little bit of OCD in us, but there's something satisfying about doing every single one of those little wax stamps on every single envelope. And then I would just kind of lay them out and you could take a picture of all of these and they just kind of look cool. But I would love to just sit and reflect. Like, what has my year been? Who has been important to me? What has influenced me? What has impacted me this past year? And like, what do I do? One of the things that I just finished doing is reading the book of Leviticus. Super exciting book. If you're looking for an exciting book to speak into your life, Leviticus is the book. Okay, maybe it's not that exciting of a book. And sometimes Old Testament, it can be I'm in Numbers now. I don't know why I started. Anyway, I do a couple different things, and one of them is this little journey that I'm on, and I kind of take it kind of slow on purpose. But I'm doing some intentional study of the Old Testament, and those are not like easy reads. But in Leviticus, we're getting the children of Israel. They're coming out of Exodus, and now they're like getting some teachings for their lives. God is like speaking to the community through their leader, Moses, to tell them all of the things that they should and should not do, how to handle each other's relationships, how to handle their personal lives, how to handle what they should eat and what they should avoid eating, how should they handle infections or diseases, how do they handle sacrifices, how do they handle their relationship with God, what is the building of this temple, and how should we handle the temple, who's responsible? Like, every single detail for their lives was spelled out in Leviticus. And there's this pattern that begins to develop in the book of Leviticus that as I got to prepare for this week, we were having our gathering on Wednesday and a little bit smaller of a group because people were having to kind of work different nights and Christmas parties, whatnot coming up. And so they had to work different nights to have certain nights off. And anyway, as I was preparing and thinking about the group, I just felt a little bit of a change. I had something lined up that we'll get to next week, but it just felt like this little bit of a change to go in this direction. The pattern that was there that I think really speaks to where you and I are today. Again, I'm leaving here in just a few minutes. I'm probably going to hear a bunch of stuff in the background. I don't know, but everybody's kind of getting ready as we get to leave here in just a minute to go see family. This idea of rest. There was this pattern that develops in the book of Leviticus of Sabbaths. This idea of pause, do no more work, and rest. God even took a Sabbath as he created the earth, and it was a pattern as he was exempling for us that he wanted his children to practice. Not only did they have specific Sabbaths for the week, they had specific Sabbaths for the year. They had specific festivals, specific things that they would celebrate in their community that would make them rest. They had specific celebrations and Sabbaths even for the land. Every 7 years, he's like, just give the land rest. Don't work it. Whatever naturally grows, that's what you're going to eat. I'm going to bless it so much so that the year before you give it a break, you're going to gather tons more. It's going to give you way more fruit, but then you got to give it a break. And there was even this idea of a reset button for the entire community. Every 50 years, there was the year of Jubilee where everything reset. If you sold your land, if you sold things, it would all kind of return back to you. Everything got to hit this reset button. It's the holidays. And in the holidays, we can get caught up in this really stressful, intense moment of emotions. Look, we do a lot to ourselves, okay? Yes, our culture is this idea of consumerism. They want us to buy things. They want us to do things. They want us to go places. I have a really good friend who just went to this really super magical place up in Washington. And it was like this picture of the perfect winter wonderland, Christmas land. If the North Pole was a real place, it would look like this place that my friend got to go to. And the moment I seen our pictures, I was like, I got to go there. Right? That's what our world kind of does to us. We want to go places. We want to buy things. We want to do stuff. And so we do a lot of this to ourselves, but it adds a lot of stress, anxiety, and pressure. And oftentimes that comes out in us not resting well. Sleep is super important. I'm not going to sit here and bore anybody with the science, but don't sleep for a couple of days and see how it affects your mental stability, your emotional stability, your physical energy and emotions. Like, sleep is so important. I hate this chair. This is a new chair from the stupid computer chair that I used to have, but these chairs kill my back. If you ever sit for long periods of time, 8 to 12 hours a day, and unfortunately my job, that's what I do. I'm constantly content creating or working remotely, and so I'm in a chair and it just murders your back. This is why really good chairs that don't hurt your back, that were developed to purposely like help your back health, are stupid, crazy expensive, is because it is worth every nickel and dime that you spend on these. And so the other night I didn't sleep. Literally, I must have tossed and turned 50 times in my sleep because my back was hurting. And then the whole next day, I didn't want to work out. I couldn't get myself going. I could have had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cups of coffee. Just sleep affects everything. And God in the book of Leviticus was telling his people, rest. Intentionally stop and rest. So much so, it was so important that he's like, I will cut people off from this community if you don't stop and rest. You have to stop and rest. It not only helps me reset, emotionally, physically, spiritually, but it also practices and grows my faith, puts my faith in God, that God, I trust that you're going to take care of me. I trust that your way is better than mine, and I'm going to rest in you. I'm going to rest in this moment. I'm going to reset for myself, for my family. I'm going to trust that you got me. And I just feel that you should know it's okay to rest. Let it go. God has got you. He is over your life, and you have to rest. And getting caught up in all of these moments, getting caught up in all of the go, the spin, the do of the holiday season, just stop and rest. If I want to hear him in my life, the simplest thing to do, stop and rest. Just listen. Just give him an opportunity to speak peace into my life, to let me know that he has me. For me to stop and rest is practicing my faith that God has got me. Throughout these times, he would tell them to stop and rest. And at the end of the book of Leviticus, he kind of lays it all out in not a super sexy way either. I got to be honest with you. We don't like to hear these things. We live in a world that tells me and you that I am in full capability of running my world, that I have my truth and you have your truth, and that I can do things my way and you can do things your way, and that I should stand up for myself and my rights. And there are a lot of that I could agree with and stand with, but this idea that I can fully control and run my life? Well, simply just not true. He says that you can do things your way, but if you do, this is what's going to happen. You can ignore what I told you to do. You can ignore Sabbaths. You can ignore giving the land rest. You can ignore the year of Jubilee. You can ignore the resets. You can ignore my voice. But if you do, these not so nice things are going to happen to you. We live in a world that's not easy to say. We live in a world that preachers, we cringe a little bit saying that because we don't like hearing that as humans. I want to be told all the good things. Tell me all the blessings. Tell me how to have a prosperous life. Tell me how to make a lot of money, how to have a happy marriage, how to have my kids love me, how to make me super popular. Like, tell me all the good things. Don't tell me the bad things, but he's a God of both. He is a God of justice. And he tells me that if I don't do these things, then these things are going to happen to me. You can do things your way. Nate can do things his way. I can go rack up credit card debt. I can go spending. I can go doing. I can go trying to accomplish everything on my own. I can not rest. I can continue to push myself. And then I can find myself in a really bad emotional, spiritual, and physical space. Or I can do things his way. I can stop and listen and understand that his ways are better than my ways. He's a good Father. And that is a phrase that's been stuck in my head for quite some time. He's a good pop. He's a good dad. He loves you, and his ways are better than our ways. And it does take us getting to a place where we let go of some of my rights. I let go of some of the things I want to do. I give them to him. I trust him with it. And I know he's got me. He is God. His ways are better than my ways. He wants rest for you. He wants you to rest in him. He wants you to stop and listen. I have this real argument in my head. This real argument that I don't know. It's a journey. We're on this journey together, right? And I'm just being totally transparent that like there's this pressure that we got to go deep as ministers, as preachers, as pastors, that we got to go super deep and we got to just 45 minutes, an hour. And then I know on YouTube, like I got to keep these things short. No one wants to listen to a 25-minute sermon online. We're busy. We're going. And I've tried to embrace and continue to embrace my gift, that I'm simple and I'm easy. Today's thoughts are simple and easy. Stop, rest, and listen. That's it. The busyness of the season is easy to get caught up on. Easy to get caught up in the stress, the emotions, all of the different emotions, good, bad, ugly, and different that come with being with family and friends during this time. Some of us even find ourselves all alone, wondering, why am I here? How did this happen? Wherever this finds you today, I just want you to know that God is saying, stop, rest, and listen. And if I do that, his ways are better than mine. He will speak peace and life over me. And he will give me the desires of my heart because my heart will be in him. And those two things will connect. I love you. I hope that this inspires you and helps you today. Keep yourself in a good place during this season. Let me pray over you. Father, I thank you for your people. I thank you for your word. I thank you for the Sabbath, this idea that I can rest in you, that I can stop and rest. And it's okay. It's okay to not work all the time. It's okay to not be grinding all the time. It's okay to just stop and rest. And when I do that, when I put that practice in my life, when I put that practice in my relationships, then you are able to speak to me. I am able to hear you. You speak life, peace, and rest over your people. I thank you for your people. During this holiday season, protect those who are traveling, protect those who are finding themselves in different spaces that maybe are not always the best spaces. I pray that you would protect people's emotions and bodies. And even for those, Father, who find themselves alone, pray that you would be a comfort to them, that you would comfort their minds. In the name of Jesus Christ, bless, prosper your people. May we hear you better as we rest in you. In Jesus' name, amen. I had a little bit of a stroke there during my prayer. Real pressure to always say the right words. I mean, you're just like, I'm just trying to connect and pray over people. Anyway, it happens, right? It happens to the best of us. I love you. I got to get out of here before I get yelled at the wife. She's probably going to come busting in this room telling me to wrap it up. I love you. Keep yourself in a good place. Know that your rest is found in him. Pray that he speaks over you. I love you. You matter to me. Make sure that you come and be a part of our community. Download our app, homechurch217.com. Go right now. That's right. Pause right now. Go to your app store. Download homechurch217. There you can see our media. You can see what we're about. There's a in-app Bible app in there. There's a place for notes. And we have in-app messaging. Excuse me. So you want to hear more? You want to meet people? Hey, maybe you're not in the New Orleans area, but you're looking for a community. We want to help you find that community. If you are in the New Orleans area, we want you to come hang out with us, okay? My wife cooks really well. We have great worship. We have really good conversations. Come be with us. I love you. We'll see you soon.
Smash that like and subscribe.